मंगलमय मंगल करण वीतराग विज्ञान नमो ताहि जाते भये अरिहंतादि महान करि मंगल करि हो महा ग्रंथ करन को काज जाते मिले समाज सब पावे निज पद राज। Acharya Kalp, Pandit Prawar Todarmalji, has written this scripture, Moksh Marg Prakashak. We were on to the first chapter and we were discussing characteristics of a discourser. Okay, traits of a discourser. And we had around 12 points, out of which we have covered 9 points. And we are on page number 22. So today we'll be starting with 10. What should be a ideal discourser possess? What are the qualities that we look at a ideal discourser? So far the discussion was about that. Ideal discourser would be a Tirthankar. He is the best discourser. All the knowledge that we have right now in terms of scriptures has come from this Tirthankar. Then in that lineage, we have Gandhar, okay, who is a chief preceptor, although he is a monk, but he is the chiefest of all. Then from Gandhar, it comes to Acharyas. Then Acharyas to other Acharyas. This way, the tradition goes on. And when there were no Acharyas to grab those knowledge, then it was written. It was written by the Acharyas. They thought now nobody is grasping it word to word. So they thought of writing the scriptures, and that's how the scriptures, the tradition of writing the scriptures started with Dharsen Acharya, okay, and his two disciples, Pushpadant and so I made a coast, Hemali, I made a coast. No, I will make Somya coast 1 minute.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, Soumya, you are the host. So in that lineage, the scholars were there. And so Dharsen Acharya had this in mind that let's put it in words. So the scriptures were written, and Acharya Pushpadant and Bhutbali, the two disciples of Acharya Dharsen, they started writing. And initially it was Satkhandagam, and then other scriptures were written from time to time. And then there were no acharyas. Then the scholars started writing it, and that's how we have got this knowledge up to us. So the ideal discourser would be a Tirthankar, then a Gandhar, then acharyas, and that in lineage the scholars. Okay, but one thing that is very common across all true discourser would be that they should be a right believer. Okay, so those are the ideal. Now all these qualities mentioned, it is not necessary that all the qualities every discourser will have, and every discourser will be a true believer. Okay, but if they are explaining according to the scriptures, then still it is okay. So ideally it is our responsibility to read the scripture and interpret. And if we are not able to do that, we can take help of the scholars available. We have now around 1000 scholars across India who have graduated from institutions like PTST, Pandit Todarmal Smarak Trust, Jaipur. Then we have one in Kota, one in Bhopal, then we have one in Banswara, and then one more places. Okay. We have now institutions for women also. Okay. one in Udaipur and I think other in Bhopal, one also in Delhi. So there are many institutions now available where you can go and read, where you can go and study, for 5 years. But now those who cannot make it, so this is the Parmagam honors course. Okay. Although you missed that bus, we all missed that bus, but nevertheless, we are reading the same scriptures. So ideally, we should read the scriptures, and the one who preaches according to the scriptures, we can always listen to them. And if we are very capable of understanding the scriptures, then we can read it on ourselves also. Okay. But these are the some of the characteristics that a preacher should have, ideal preachers should have. That is what is being written. So we have seen many characteristics. Now we are moving on to the 10th point in that sequence, and it starts from further the spatial characteristics of a discourser. So that is 10th. Then in between that paragraph, therefore, if he be an enlightened self, sorry, sir. So the 10th point starts further, that's further the spatial characteristics from there. Then in that paragraph in between, therefore, if he be an enlightened self, that is the 11th point. And then the 12th point, last paragraph of page 22, middle line, further the discoursers who possess extraordinary intellectual power. So that is the last point, and then we move on to characteristics of listeners. So we begin with Soumya, you only read. You have not shared the scriptures?
Is it not visible? You are. I'm sharing the screen, sir.
Acha?
I can see it.
I can see it.
Okay, so I have to do.
Sir, you might have gone to the meeting tab, sir. There are two tabs. Soumya's screen and meeting. There must be two tabs
Acha.
at the top.
1 minute. I don't know. Okay. I think I must have highlighted spotlight. I think, let's see if I have blur my ground, select a camera. Okay. So everyone could see the scripture?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So Soumya, you only start reading.
Okay, sir. Should I reshare it, sir, so that you can see?
No, let me try for a few minutes, then you keep on reading.
Okay, sir. Further, the discoursers who possess extraordinary intellectual power and are possessed of clairvoyance, telepathy, omniscience are to be known as the great preachers. Such should be known the distinctive traits of the discoursers. So, if one gets the association of a discourser possessing these distinctive traits, it is highly beneficial, and if not obtained, then one ought to listen the Shastras from the mouth of those discoursers only who possess qualities of right belief, etc. It is desirable to listen to the Shastras from the mouth of Munis, monks, and Shravakas, householders, possessing such characteristics, and it is not worth listening the Shastras customarily or with the greed of listening the Shastras from the mouth of sinful persons who are not possessed of the right belief, etc. traits. Also, it is said that tam jid an parena ya dhammo soyav suguru pasammi aha uchiyo saddhao tassu vayes kah gao. The one who is attentive in obeying the omniscient's commandments, it is worthwhile for him to listen to the sermons from the mouth of Nirgrantha, naked, possessionless, true perceptor monk, or should listen to religious discourses from the proper true believer Shravak, that is householder, who interprets the sermons of the true perceptor only. Only such discourser who preaches the religious attitude can do good of the self and of other jivas, capable souls, also, and one who preaches with passional attitude harms himself as well as other jivas.
Okay. So we have seen the special characteristics. So ideally, we should listen from the monk itself. Okay. But if the monk is not available, then we can still listen who has got a right belief. Okay. So one who has himself experienced the soul, he is in a better position to explain you. Okay. But one who has not experienced the soul, he can just preach you by just following the scriptures. Okay. So those are traditional discourser. In Pravachan, sir, it is stated that the scriptural knowledge, then Tatvar Shraddhan, that means faith, right belief in fundamental elements, and then Sanyam Bhav, continence or austerity. These three, if are devoid of self-knowledge, Atmagyan, they are ineffective. Okay. Then reference has been given from Doha Paur. O Pandey, O Pandey, O Pandey, you are leaving the grain, thrashing the husk only. You are satisfied in words and their literal meanings, but do not know the reality. Therefore, you are assured a fool. So after getting the discourses, after getting the scriptures, we should not be satisfied in words, but we should go beyond the words. Okay. These words takes us in a certain direction. So we should follow that direction and leave the words and their literal meanings. Okay. And the words and the scriptures points us to a entity called soul. Okay. And that is the reality. And if we are not able to experience that, see that, follow that, then we are all assuredly fools. Fool means here means that your efforts will go futile. Then, moreover, in 14 types of learning, okay, there are 14 types of learning in the ancient time. There were 14 types of learning. Out of all these learnings, the metaphysics, Atmagyan, Adhyatam Vidya. In Hindi, it is written Adhyatam Vidya, spiritual science, is described as to be the supreme of all. Why it is supreme for all? Very simple, because this is going to take you to liberation. And all other learnings will keep us in this worldly existence only. So therefore, this is the supreme of all. There cannot be match to this kind of education. Okay. Therefore, the discourser who is fond of the taste of spiritual science should be known as the discourser of the mystery of Jin Dharma. Mystery here means the essence, the rahasya. In Hindi, the word used is rahasya, Jin Dharma ke gyata. Further, the discoursers who possess extraordinary intellectual power and are possessed of clairvoyance, telepathy, and omniscience. Okay, because this Mati Gyan and Shrud Gyan. Mati Gyan is sensory knowledge and Shrud Gyan is scriptural knowledge. Okay, these two are indirect knowledge, but clairvoyance, telepathy, and omniscience are direct knowledge. Okay, so if a person possesses these three, any of these three, then they are supposed to be a great preacher. Such should be known the distinctive traits of the discourser. So here we end the 12 points. Now the conclusion. So if one gets the association of a discusser possessing these distinctive traits, it is highly beneficial. And if not obtained, then one ought to listen the Shastras from the mouth of those discoursers only who possesses quality of right belief, etc. Right belief, right knowledge, and right conduct. Okay. So even if these qualities are not in him, but is still a true believer, then also you will be benefited, because one who has experienced, who has gone through that process, he is in a better position to explain it properly. Okay. It is desirable to listen to the Shastras from the mouth of Munis, ideally that should be, and Shravakas, householder, possessing such characteristics, and it is not worth listening the Shastras customarily or with the greed of listening the Shastras from the mouth of sinful person. Now, what does here sinful person mean? Here, sin does not mean that the one who is doing violence, falsehood, theft, adultery, and who is having possession. No, these sins are not like that. This
Right.
sinful person means
Right
mithya
belief.
drishti, wrong believer, wrong believer. Many a times Todarmalji has used
Who
this
does not
word
follow.
papi, papi, papi. Okay. So I
The one who
wondered
does not
why.
follow.
Yeah, Madhuji, are you saying anything?
I was saying those who do not follow these conduct, right belief and right conduct. That.
So one who is a wrong believer is a sinful person, because delusion is one of the biggest sin, is the biggest sin. Okay. And against delusion, all these other sins are very small. Okay. So a mithya drishti person, a wrong believer, is a sinful person who are not possessed of the right belief. Okay. Etc. traits. Also, it is said that the one who is attentive in obeying the omniscient's commandments, it is worthwhile for him to listen to the sermons from the mouth of a nirgrantha, naked, possessionless, true preceptor monk, or should listen to religious discourses from the proper true believer, Shravak, householder, who interprets the sermons of the true preceptor only. Only such discoursers who preaches with religious attitude can do good of the self and of other jivas also. And one who preaches with passional attitude harms himself as well as other jivas. Okay. So everywhere it is very strictly mentioned that he should be a true believer. Now, if you don't get that, now I just spoke about 1000 scholars that we have across the country who has graduated, who has studied 5 years in Vidyalayas like Jaipur, Kota, Bhopal, Baswada. Okay. Then what do we do? So they also follow the scriptures, and if they are explaining the scriptures in a better way, what is written over there, they are explaining it in a more simple way with examples, then also you can listen. Okay. So whatever is available, best you can do, you do. Okay. At the end of the day, you have the scriptures with you. Even if you don't get any scholars, you can read by yourself. And that's what we do across everywhere. You know, there are so many novels and everything is being bought every day. You know, Amazon and all, they are all marketing this kind of books. So who teaches them? Nobody. They just read the book and understand. Okay. So initially you may find it difficult, but as you read again and again, the meanings automatically unfolds in your mind. Okay. Same word, same thing. You read it 10 times, and every time you will find that there are new meanings coming out of it. So these words and the meaning, they have a cause and effect relationship. So when you read these kind of words, the effect automatically comes. So this was all about preacher. Now, characteristic of a listener. So there are 3 broad categories of a listeners. One is the new listener, just joined in, just got the contact. Then there are one enlightened listeners, those who have studied and they have manifested right belief in them. They are the enlightened listeners. And the third one is traditional, who doesn't have a purpose behind listening. Okay. They are listening traditionally for the sake of listening. And again, in that, there are three categories that we will discuss when that point comes up. Now, the first paragraph is about a new listener. Okay. So the new listener has many queries in his mind. Okay. And when he gets the answer of those queries, then he gets interested in reading the scriptures. Okay. So there are sub points. 1 minute. Mm. Okay. So there are some sub points into that also we will discuss. So first one, now the characteristics of a listener are being described. Okay. So the first point, he whose future seems to be bright thinks, who am I? Okay. So, you know, I never heard this word, who am I? I was around 30. So that I was in Svetambar Sthanakvasi and I went for the Pratikaman. So that was, we used to be my, I used to go to Pratikaman every year. And that was the only connection that I had with the Sthanak or the Mandir. Okay. So in that Pratikaman, I didn't understand anything about the Pratikaman then, but still I used to go as a tradition. Okay. Because that thing we need to do. Or kuch nahi kare to theek hai, but this Pratikaman we must attend. And then when the Pratikaman ends, we said Michhami Dukram to all, and that was just a tradition ritual for me. So I went to listen that, and there the lady who was reciting the Pratikaman, he asked this question, who am I? Where I have come from? Okay. And then these three questions are put up by Srimad Rajchandraji. From there it is adapted. Those three questions made me think over, okay, who am I? I thought I am this body. I am this person. But now she was asking, who am I? And then she left, suspense that if you want to answer to these three questions, you can join our group. We are doing Swadhyay every day, 9 to 10. You can join in. So then I went to her and said, you were asking, who am I, where I have come from, but I have never thought about this anytime. So she said, you come and join and you will understand everything. So me and my wife, I was planning to join some club, social club where we can enjoy some dramas or some movies or whatever, Uh, so I was planning to join something like that to keep myself busy. And in this, these questions came up and I got curious. So she said, you come and join and you will understand everything. So we joined, me, my wife, we went to the discourse 9 to 10. And 4 or 5 days we went and I was not understanding anything, Dravya, Gun, Paryay, what they were talking about. So then again she called me up. That's tomorrow is Sunday, you come to my place and I will explain you everything. So me and my wife and my sister and my brother-in also joined, we four went there and we had discussions for 2 hours and she explained us the whole basic. And then I got interested and then we continued with those classes and the connections came up, building up. And then the Mahasatiji, Sadhviji in they call it Mahasatiji in Sthanakvasi. So they introduced me to that Mahasatiji after 2 months. And the first time I listened to her, I got very impressed. And she was preaching me Samay Sar's Gatha number 6. Nati apramat ke pramat nati, je ek vinayak bhav. So from there, I got the connections and I thought that there are some books, special books made for the preacher. And she was preaching me from there. Then I found out, oh, this is the lectures written by Kanji Swami, Gurudev Sri. And then I got books. There were 11 volumes to that. 18th time, Samaisar's Discourses. And those 11 volumes I started reading. And as I read, I got more interested. And that's how the journey began. So this question, who am I, is very important. At least it has changed my life. And whoever thinks on those lines, definitely it's going to impact everyone. Okay. So this is the characteristics of a new listener. Okay. Who am I? What is my inherent nature? In that Srimadji's words, who am I, where I have come from, and what is the future, or something like that. But here
Purpose
the
of my life. Would it be purpose of my life?
no, હું કોણ છું, ક્યાંથી
So
થયો?
where will I go? Where will I go?
So it is like that in Gujarati. હું કોણ છું, ક્યાંથી
ક્યાંથી
થયો,
થયો?
શું સ્વરૂપ છે મારું
છે
ખરું?
મારું ખરું.
Yeah, this is the exact word. So હું કોણ છું, who am I? હું ક્યાંથી થયો? So where I have come from. Okay. And શું સ્વરૂપ છે મારું ખરું? What is my true nature? So these three questions, and here it is a bit different. Who am I? What is my inherent nature? So that also reflects the same meaning. How this is all happening to me? Okay, third question. Fourth, what will be the fruits of the thoughts and feelings arising in me? Okay. Jiva, the self, is suffering from miseries. So what is the means of ending the miseries? I have to find out the solution of all these questions and should do that which is beneficial to me. Okay. So all these characteristics, this is the characteristics of a new listener. Now, so much of queries he has in his mind. So that means he is already on a quest. Now, what he needs is a solution. And there is a cause and effect relationship, that whenever you have a query in your mind from inside, automatically you get answer from one source or the other source. It could vary, the source may vary, but nevertheless your queries will be answered. And that I've experienced many a times. Now I was having some questions on something, and then some magazine will come. We have subscribed to a few magazines like Guru Prasad, then Vitrag Vigyan, published from Jaipur. And in that, some article will come, and in that article, I'll get the answer. So here a queries is being raised in my mind, and there I'm getting the answer. So it's a cause and effect relationship. Okay. But to be inquisitive, to be curious is very important. That is the first step towards gaining knowledge. If you don't have a requirement, then even if you get the desired things, you will not be interested. So first the interest has to be created. So those who are interested, for them also Acharya has addressed, and those who are not interested, how to create an interest in them, that also Acharya Dev has addressed in different scriptures. Okay. So in Chedala, the one that we are going to study, the next paper, paper 2, the Pandit Daulat Ramji, he first described the miseries suffered by this soul in all the 4 states of existence. Because until and unless we feel that we are suffering from miseries, we will not be tempted to find the solution. Right? So the first case, we should realize that we are suffering from miseries. But those who don't realize these and they feel that I am very happy, life is going so good and all, then there is no, query. There is no curiosity from his side. So automatically it doesn't go for solutions also. So now this curious listener, now he has these all questions, 5 questions. And then he says, I have to find out the solution of all these questions and should do that which is beneficial to me. So at least that much thinking, that much quality that he has developed, that these answers are going to be of my benefit. With such thoughts, he has become active. Okay. believing that this object can be achieved by listening to Shastras, listens to Shastras enthusiastically. Now, this is a very good trait, I would say. You should listen to Shastra enthusiastically. Okay. That enthusiasm crushes the delusion. Every time you are enthusiastic, the delusion gets crushed. And that is the only way, the delusion which has been with us since time immemorial. And in this birth, because of our good luck, we have got access to this kind of true God, true scriptures, and true monk. Okay. And if we are getting interested in them, then we are the luckiest one. Okay. So you should listen to Shastras enthusiastically with that intent that this is going to be beneficial to me. Ask whatever is to be asked. The next part is more important. Ponders repeatedly. Ponders, reflects, contemplate. These are all same meaning. Ponders repeatedly in his inner self over the meaning explained by the preceptors. And after determining the true meaning of by his own thoughts, makes efforts to achieve the desirable. Such is the differentia of a new listener. So this is the right kind of listener who is positioned in such a way that he is ready to grab the knowledge, who is ready to accept the truth, okay, who has a curiosity to know the truth. So this kind of listener will definitely be a good listener, and he will also grasp what is being preached. So this was the first kind. Now the second kind, okay. The next paragraph, next two paragraphs is about the second kind, and then we will move on to the third kind, moreover. From there, moreover is the third point, okay. So second, first we will finish the second and we'll discuss, and then we'll move on to the third. So Himali, you read the second point.
Further, those who are the firm believers of Jin Dharma and whose intellect has been sharpened by listening to different Shastras and have known thoroughly well the differentia of Vyavhar, that is conventional, and Nishchay, which is realistic standpoints, etc., whatever sermon they listen to, grasp it correctly by knowing what it really means, and whenever a question arises, they most humbly raise the question, or by mutual discussion on different questions and answers take decisions about the things, keep deeply engrossed in the study of scriptures, have discarded censurable acts with religious attitude. Such ought to be the listeners of Shastras.
Next.
Special characteristics of the listener of Jin Shastra. If a listener possesses some knowledge of grammar, logic, and of voluminous Jin Shastra, then the listener is praiseworthy. And even if there be such a listener, but be devoid of Atma Gyan, which is self knowledge, he cannot understand the gist of the sermons. Therefore, the one who has tasted the blissful nature of the self soul through self realization, he is the real listener of the mystery of Jin Dharma. Further, the one who possesses extraordinary intellectual power or clairvoyance, telepathy knowledge, then he is to be known as an excellent listener. Such are the special qualities of the listener. Such should be the listeners of Jin Shastras.
Stop. So this heading in between is wrongly given. Okay, it is not there in the Hindi. So that was I wondering how they have given a heading, because the second point is still continuing. Okay. So there is no heading here in Hindi. So this has wrongly been given. Where they got the special words from? There is no special word in Hindi. It is only Shrota ka Swarup, and that heading we already given here, characteristics of listeners. So sometimes the translator also starts giving commentary. Okay. So when you are translating, we should translate purely. We should not put our mind, because there are many perspectives to anything. So it is not right while translating. You should just translate the original one. Okay. So this heading you can discard. Okay. So this is the second category of listener who is a right believer. Okay. And since he is a right believer, he's already grasped the knowledge and he has manifested it. And now when he reads again, okay, he is able to grasp it correctly in the correct sense, and he knows the essence of the preachings. And whenever a question arises which he is not aware of the answer, he most humbly raises the question, and by mutual discussion on different question and answer, take decisions about the things. This is very important, taking the decision. Most of the people do read, but as far as decision making is concerned, very few people are able to take the decision. Now you will feel that what's big deal about it, but it's a very big deal. I have analyzed many seekers over a period of this 25 years that I'm connected with this True Dev Guru Shastra, and 3 years before that, the story that I just related now, and I've come across that people do lack decision making power. And I feel that is the most important. You read little bit, but you arrive at a conclusion. And when you arrive at a conclusion, then only the next step of applying it in your day-to-day life happens. Okay. So decision making is very important, and here Todarmalji also emphasized that. Okay. And take decisions about the things. Keep deeply engrossed in the study of scripture. Have discarded censurable acts. Censurable acts means the acts which are not worth doing, okay, which are not considered good in worldly existence. Okay. So after taking the decision, he is able to come to a conclusion that what are desirable and what are undesirable, what is worth adopting and what is worth renouncing. Okay. So then he discards the censurable acts with religious attitude. Okay. Okay. Such ought to be the listeners of Shastra. Continue with the next paragraph. Now, if that listener possesses some knowledge of grammar, okay, logic, and of voluminous Jain Shastra, then the listenership is praiseworthy. Okay. You are a good listener, but if you are also having knowledge of grammar, logic, and voluminous Jain Shastras, then the listenership is praiseworthy. Okay. And even if there be such a listener, but be devoid of Atma Gyan, self-knowledge, he cannot understand the gist of the sermons. Okay. So how do you identify who is a enlightened one and who is a true believer and who is not? So there is a very good explanation given. I have listened to this in Swamiji's discourse only, one of the, or in Srimadji's, somewhere it was there, that if you want to identify an enlightened soul, then you have to become one. You have to become one enlightened. So if you are enlightened, you'll be able to identify other enlightened soul. Okay. So that is the qualification, because the main part is our understanding. What is our attitude? What is our intent? So all the bondages are happening according to our intent. If your intent is good, even if you are not able to follow some rituals, it is fine. But at least your understanding should be good. Okay. So if he is devoid of right belief, then he cannot understand the gist of the sermons. Therefore, one who has tasted the blissful nature, the self soul, through self-realization, he is the real listener of the mystery of Jin Dharma. Okay. Further, one who possesses extraordinary intellectual power or the clairvoyance, telepathy, knowledge, then he is to be known as an excellent listener. Such are the special qualities of the listener. Such should be the listeners of the Jin Shastra. So this is the second point where we end. So first one was a new listener. This one is a enlightened listener who has already manifested, who has taken action, who has taken decision. Okay. And the third one is traditional listener. Now this traditional listener, how he approaches and what is the result that he gets. So there are three kinds of listener. First one, he binds punya karma only. Okay. Because he is a traditional listener, so he cannot get himself enlightened. Okay. The second one was an enlightened one. And first one is the most eligible listener, new listener, because he has so much curiosity in him. Now this one who is just listening by tradition. So the first category only binds punya karma. The second category binds punya and pap both. And the third one only binds pap karma. So why this all traits are being enumerated here? Because you have to see where you belong and what should be an ideal listener. So after understanding this, you become an ideal listener, and understanding the characteristics of a discourser, you find one ideal discourser, and by understanding what scriptures are to be read, you find the right scriptures to read. Okay. So that we will discuss in the conclusion. Now the third type. Okay.
सर एक मिनट कहाँ शुरू हो रहा है फर्स्ट वाला ऑन इन द बुक
In the book, first paragraph, characteristics of listener. Now the
yes
characteristics
I
of
got it
listener,
सेकंड वाला कहाँ शुरू हो रहा है सर
further, who are the firm believers of Jin Dharma.
सेकंड ओके एंड
And the
थर्ड
third, moreover, those who listen to Shastra,
उसी पैराग्राफ में
believing that listening to Shastra will be beneficial to them. Okay.
जी अच्छा थैंक यू
So number 3. Okay. Pratibha ji, you read.
Moreover, those who listen to Shastras, believing that listening to Shastras will be beneficial to them, but due to weakness of knowledge, do not understand much. To them, Punya Bandha, bondage of auspicious karma, occurs, but the specific purpose cannot be achieved. And those who listen to Shastras, either by family tradition or customarily, of incidentally or simply listen but do not retain anything. So, according to their thoughts and feelings, sometimes punya bandha, auspicious bondage, or sometimes pap bandha, inauspicious bondage, is caused to them. And those who listen to Shastras with pride or jealousy, or whose intention is only of arguing, and those who listen to Shastras simply for being called the great person or for the sake of fulfilling some greed, etc., or those who listen to Shastras but do not like it, to such listeners, the Papa Bandha alone is caused. Such are the various traits of listeners. Similarly, it should be inferred about the persons indulging in learning, teaching activities, etc. Thus, the characteristic of discourse and the listeners of the Shastras have been described. Hence, the right Shastra should be read and listened to by becoming a right discourser and a right listener.
So, Himali, my question. These
Yes, sir.
traits are mentioned here, okay, of a listener, of a discourser. So we should follow that sequence, or how it is?
No, sir, we should not.
Then why it is given here?
So it's given so that we can distinguish between who is a new listener, who is it's a- so at what level is every listener and what we should ideally be.
So this is the just they Todramalji has given ideas of an ideal discourse or an ideal listener. Now considering the case of the lion who got Samyak Darshan, what qualities he was having from this? Okay, so he was not out of the three listeners mentioned here, he was not the one of them, but he got Samyak Darshan. So these are ideally these are the cases, okay, but it is not that one ever who has got a quest in them, one who tries to research on them, they definitely get it. Okay, so in worldly existence, you may desire something like you want to become a billionaire, millionaire, okay, trillionaire. You may become, you may not become. But here in Jinvani, right, whoever desires to get liberated, they find all the means. So here your effort works. Everything else is just by your luck, destiny. There your effort doesn't work. A person may try very hard to be a CEO of a company, but he never becomes. And a person who doesn't try, he becomes a CEO. So it's all about the luck, you know. So whoever and whenever they have thought of getting this kind of knowledge, they have got, they have understood, they have manifested, and they have got liberated. Okay. So all these are just being said as an ideal thing. Okay. What should be the qualities of a good listener, of a good discourser? Okay. And
Sir,
if
is it
we
okay
are
to ask
having
a question?
1 minute, if we are having any flaws in ourselves, then we can improve on ourselves. That is what the message is for. Yeah, Rekha.
Sir, as you said now that it is our own thought, we would have thought that, we would have had this urge for this kind of dharma, atma dharma. That's why we are getting it and we are able to do it. But ये तो किसी भी जन्म का हो सकता है ना या फिर it happens in this birth.
No. It could be any. It could be 10 births ago. It could be 50 births ago. You never know. This
Never.
karma theory is, once the karma starts coming into fruition, it may take 1,000 years. It may take 20,000 years. It may 50,000 years. It goes on coming. Okay. So karma theory is entirely different. And whatever we see outside is all based on those karmas theory. Okay. So there is no clear-cut rules for it that this is of this birth. It may happen that some of the karmas we bind immediately comes into fruition after 48 minutes. Then some of the karmas come into fruition after 1 day, 1 week, 1 month, 1 year, 1,000 years, 1 lakh years. You never know. It's all so automatic. So there is nothing in our hand on those side. But what we can do, we can put the right efforts, understand it properly, and the best part is arrive at a conclusion. The more you conclude, the more your sharp decision-making power, the more successful you are in this spiritual journey. Yeah.
So
Himali.
So
I
the question
wanted to
which
ask
was
you,
asked to Himali, can I know the question?
What?
You had asked a question to Himali, and what was that question, sir?
Now take the new question that has gone. You will check on the recording. Okay. I also forgot. Yeah, Himali.
so you earlier said that there are three kinds of listeners. One is the new listener, one is the excellent listener, and one is the traditional listener. So, sir, you said the new listener is the most eligible.
Because the second one has already manifested right belief.
Correct.
So between first and third, first is the most eligible because he has got a query in his mind. He wants to understand the truth. Now the third one, among the third one, there are three categories. One who listen to Shastras believing that listening to Shastras will be beneficial to them. At least he knows that it will be beneficial to them. but due to weakness of knowledge, he has not got that sharp knowledge, do not understand much. So still he is binding punya. Okay. The second category binds punya as well as pap. And the third category only binds pap because his intent is bad. He is listening to shastras with pride or jealousy, and whose intention is only of arguing, and those who listen to shastras simply for being called the great person. Many a times you must have seen that people keep on asking questions, to show that they are intelligent. Okay, many a times. But that should not be the right practice. That is not the right practice. Okay. So these kind of listeners even don't bind punya karmas also. So it all boils down to our intention. Okay. So keep the best intention. You don't have to spend anything to change your proper intention. Okay. And with intention, you automatically good things come to your life. Okay. So the final conclusion, hence the right shastra should be read and listened to by becoming a right discourser and a right listener. Okay. Now, the last topic of this chapter, meaning of moksha marg prakashak, meaningfulness of moksha marg prakashak shastra. So there are 9 points. I will mark the points first. The first point, as an instrumental cause. This is the first point. Then second point is further the Gandhar Devas. Okay. The third point, further as the tradition of lamps. Third point. Then fourth point, further as the sun. Fifth point, further this shastra is being composed. Sixth point, further as if a chintamani. Then next point, in pravachan sar. Seventh point. Further, next paragraph. Further, there are various components. Eighth point. Then the last point, further reading, listening and pondering. These are the 9 points. Okay. So first we will read the first 3 points, then next 3, and then the last 3. Okay. So first 3 points. Payal, you only read. You will be able to read, Payal? Okay, Roshni, you read from the beginning.
Meaningfulness of Moksha Marg Prakashak Shastra. Now starts the composition of the Shastra named Moksha Marg Prakashak. Its meaningfulness is being discussed. In this world forest of all jeev are suffering from different kinds of miseries due to karmic bondage and darkness of delusion in pervading everywhere, because of which the jeeves are not able to find the path of liberation, rather continue suffering from the miseries tormentedly. As an instrumental cause of benefaction of all jeeves, dawned the sun in the form of Tirthankar Kevli Bhagwan, and through the ways of Divya Dhwani, the path of liberation got illuminated. As the sun has no intention of illuminating the path, but automatically its rays are spread out and the path gets illuminated. Similarly, the Kevli is devoid of attachment, so he has no intention to show the path of liberation, but automatically, due to rise of Aghati karma, the matter particles of his body turn into Divya Dhwani, through which the path of liberation is illuminated. Further, the Ganadhar Devs thought that after the setting of the omniscient sun, how could Jeev obtain the liberation path, and without treading of liberation path, the Jeev will continue suffering from miseries. This compassionate feeling encouraged them to compose the Shastra in the forms of Anga Prakiranaka. These served as great lamps which spread the light. Further, as the tradition of lamps continues to lighten the lamp from the lamp. Similarly, some acharyas composed other shastras from those shastras. Thus, through the creation of shastras, the tradition of shastras continues. This shastra is also being composed on the basis of previous shastras. Further, as the
No,
sun
stop,
and
stop.
all
3 points only, 3 points only. Okay. So, meaningfulness of Moksha Marg Prakashak Shastra. What is the importance of writing these scriptures and what is the importance of this scripture? Okay. So, 1 minute. Yeah. So, the significance. Okay. In this world forest. Now, what is this world forest? Transmigration. Okay. Transmigration. Moving from one state of existence to another state of existence, and this we have been doing since time immemorial. In this world forest, all jivas, mundane beings, are suffering from different kinds of miseries. All the four state of existence has its own kind of sufferings, due to karmic bondage. What is the cause? The karmic bondage, the one that we have done earlier, the karmic bondage that we have done, that fruits are only coming to us back. And darkness of delusion is pervading. Darkness of delusion means wrong belief is pervading everywhere, because of which the jivas are not able to find the path of liberation. Now just consider ourselves. We are so lucky that we are able to find the path of liberation. Although we may not follow that, but at least we have find out. But there are infinite living beings in this universe who doesn't find the path of liberation. Okay, so it is very rare. Rather continue suffering. So what the options they have? Rather continue suffering from the miseries tormentedly. Okay, several severe mental sufferings or torture they are undergoing through. We feel that these people are happy, but they are not happy. Just a little bit of ups and downs in their life and they are shattered, because they don't have any support system. They don't have any path to, they don't have any, they don't have any idea to come out of those. And whatever the reason they take, they are all taking wrong decisions. And so the result is also wrong. And you must have seen in your life so far that many a times you were saved by someone or the other from going to the wrong path. Like sometimes we get into bad company, right? And suddenly we realize, no, we should leave this company because these people are not good. And you come out and then you listen that, oh, that fellow went to that company and he ruined his life, and that time you realize that I am fortunate, I am blessed to have good people in my life, So similar experience you must also have some time or the other. Okay. So there is no happiness in the four state of existence. There is miseries everywhere. Only difference is that some are having great levels of miseries, some are having little level of miseries, but nobody is happy. But those who are having a little bit of miseries, they consider themselves to be happy, but they are not happy. Happiness is a quality which allows you to enjoy your life in the face of adversities. This is happiness. When your punya uday is there, then everyone is happy. Okay, but when your punya uday is not there and there is a pap uday, and in that rise of sinful, rise of inauspicious karmas also, you are unmoved, uninfluenced, and you keep your journey going ahead. That is only the people who have actually manifested real happiness. Okay, real happiness always stays with you. Okay, there could be fluctuations, but the direction is the right direction. So that is very difficult to get. And we are so fortunate that by just listening to the Shastras, by just reading the Shastras, we are able to make our journey, spiritual journey, very smooth and very fast. So the initial preachings that we have got is from Tirthankar Kevali Bhagwan. He has no intention to show the path of liberation, but the divine voice came out automatically, okay, without his intention, okay, and for the benefit of the people at large, okay. So the main source is the Tirthankar Kevali Bhagwan, omniscient Lord, okay. So whatever preachings the Tirthankar gave, the Gandhar Devas, okay, the Gandhar Devas were able to absorb that preaching and then convert it into a readable language, listenable language to the Acharyas down the line, okay. So from Tirthankar to Gandhars, and whatever scriptures the Gandhar made, these are called Anga Prakrina. Anga Prakrina. It is only for the Gandhar. Okay. Whatever scriptures the Gandhar have made, now you would say that at that time there were no one to write. But in those days, the scriptures were made orally and it was passed on to other people through mouth publicity only. The Acharya would say one time and the disciple would understand it and remember it. Those were the level of memories at that point of time, and those were the level of understanding, sarabsham, at that point of time. We are into now deteriorating state, okay? So the memories are also getting decreasing and the understanding is also getting decreasing. And in this situation, to understand the truth is very difficult, but not impossible. Those who are very firm in their conviction, what they want to do in life, they are able to do it. It is not that difficult also. Okay. So from Gandhar Deva, the knowledge passed on. Okay. These served as great lamps which spread the light. Okay. So these Gandhars served as great lamps. The third point, further as the tradition of lamp continues by lighting the lamp from the other lamp, okay? Diye se diya jalta hai, okay? So from lamp to lamp, we are not talking of electric lamps, which runs by electricity. But in older days, when there was no electricity, we used to light lamp, okay? And fuel was, the fuel was only the oil, you know? We have to put that oil and there was this cotton, what we call, in Gujarati we call what?
Batti.
Yeah.
In English,
Wick.
what it is?
Wick.
Wick, okay.
Wick.
How do you spell it?
WICK.
Okay, wick. Okay, fine. So from that week to week is enlightened, okay? Similarly, some acharyas, chief saints, composed other shastras from those shastras, okay? So all those shastras were through mouth to mouth. There was nothing written over there at that point of time, okay? After 600 years after Mahavir got liberated, thus the Shastras was written for the first time after 600 years. Okay. Before that, it was all mouth to mouth publicity. Thus, through the creation of Shastras, the tradition of Shastras continues. Okay. So then when there were nobody to grasp, so the Acharya thought of writing it, and when the Shastras were written down, the tradition continued. This Shastra is also being composed on the basis of previous Shastras. Okay. So it is, Todramalji is asserting that I have written this Moksha Marg Shastra after reading the Shastras which were written by Acharyas previously. Okay. And I have also written in line to that. So there is nothing different that I have done. It has been all adapted from the previous Shastras. So you consider this to be authentic, genuine, and read it sincerely. Okay. Now, fourth, fifth, and sixth point. Okay. These 3 points. Jia, you read. Further, as the sun and all lamps illuminate.
Yeah. Can you zoom out? Yeah, I can see. Further, as the sun and all lamps illuminate the path in the same manner, similarly, Divya Dhvani and all Shastras illuminate the liberation path, Moksha Marg, in the same way. So, this Shastra too illuminates the liberation path. And as even on illuminating the path, the persons who are either without eyes or have diseased eyes are not able to see the path, but the lamp has not lost the power of illuminating the path. Similarly, on illuminating the liberation path, the jivas who are either without mind, irrational beings, or are overpowered by delusion, etc., are not able to see the path of liberation. Thereby, it cannot be said that the Shastra has lost the power of illuminating the liberation path. In this way, the meaningful name of Mokshmarg Prakashak Shastra has been known. Question: there already existed Shastras illuminating liberation path. Why then you are composing this new Shastra? Answer: as the illumination of big lamps is possible by means of much quantity of oil, etc., but those who do not have much quantity of oil, for them, if a small lamp is lighted, then they, by maintaining its means, can do their work in its illumination. Similarly, understanding of big Shastras is possible. Uh, the screen's gone blank. I think it was up. Yeah. Similarly, understanding of big Shastras is possible through the means of vast knowledge, etc. But those who do not have vast knowledge, for them, if a small Shastra treatise is composed, then by means of it, they may achieve their objective. This is the aim of composing this small and easy Shastra. Further, this Shastra is being composed neither for self exaltation under passion, nor for fulfilling some greed, or for earning name and fame, or for establishing my own tradition. Those who do not possess the knowledge of grammar, logic, pramana, and distinctive meaning of the words, due to which they cannot study big Shastras, and even if they study some small Shastras, then they can not comprehend the true meaning. As such, in the present time, most of the jivas have feeble knowledge. For their benefaction, this Shastra is being composed with pious instinct in the spoken language. So, do I continue reading or?
Yeah, one more you have to read.
Okay. Further, as if a chintamani, a miraculous and precious diamond, is offered to an extremely pauper for looking at it, but he refuses to even look at it, and as if a cup of nectar is offered to a leper for drinking, but he refuses to drink it. Similarly, if a mundane, miserable jeev gets an opportunity to listen to an easy discourse on path of liberation, but he refuses to pay attention to it, then it is not possible for us to describe the glory of his misfortune. When we ponder over his future, a compassionate feeling arises in us. Also, it is said that the jivas who, even on getting the company of self-dependent discourser, guru, preceptor, does not listen to religious sermons, are haughty and possess cruel heart, or they are devoid of fear of transmigration, from which great personages like Tirthankaras, etc., were afraid. They seem to be very brave warriors.
Stop. So these are the 3 points. The first one, the fourth one, okay, that sun and lamps, they both do the job of illuminating the path. In the same way, Divya Dhvani, the main source of Tirthankar's divine sound, and all the Shastras written in that lineage are also illuminating the path of liberation. So this Shastra too illuminates the liberation path. The purpose is same. Okay. So while this shastras eliminate the path, but those who have no eyes or who have diseased eyes are not able to see the path, but that does not make the shastra irrelevant. Okay. Okay. Similarly, then there was a question that there already exists shastra. Why you are composing this new shastra? So then he gave a very good logic that to illuminate a big lamp, you need much quantity of oil. But those who don't have that much quantity of oil, those who are poor, they can light up a small lamp with little bit of oil, and their purpose of cooking the food or whatever they wanted to do, that can be done. Similarly, understanding of big Shastra is possible through the means of vast knowledge. Now, in earlier times, the Shastras were written in Prakrit, so you should know the Prakrit language. Then it was written in Sanskrit, so you should know the Sanskrit language. But generally speaking, people didn't have vast knowledge. They don't even knew the grammar, the logics, everyone is not that well versed. So for those who do not have vast knowledge, for them, if a small shastra, okay, treatise, topic, script is composed, then by means of it, they may achieve their objective. Okay. This is the aim of composing this small and easy shastra. At some other place, Todarmalji says that I see, in fact, it was in this chapter only, beginning, that there are people who are less intelligent than me. Okay. For them, I am making this shastra. Now the fifth point. This shastra is being composed with the intention of benefiting the people at large. There is no other purpose. There is no purpose of getting pride or having some greed or doing it for name, fame. No such objective. Only objective is that those who are not well versed in grammar, logic, nai, praman, nai is what? Viewpoints. Okay. And praman is comprehensive knowledge. Okay. And distinctive meanings of the words. Okay. They don't know the such things, due to which they cannot study big shastras. And even if they study small shastra, then they can not comprehend the true meaning. As such, in the present time, most of the Chivas have feeble knowledge, very weak knowledge. For their benefaction, this Shastra is being composed with a pious instinct in the spoken language, the language that was prevailing at that time. So this is the end of point number 5. Okay. Now the 6th point. Further, if a Chintamani, a miraculous and precious diamond. What is Chintamani, Jia?
Precious diamond?
Yeah, a precious diamond, but the functionality of the Chintamani,
No, sir.
So, if you have a Chintamani diamond with you, and you just take the diamond, keep in front of you, and just think that I want this, and you get this. That is the effect of a Chintamani Shastra. So with Chintamani Shastra, whatever you desire, you get it. Immediately you get it. Okay. So now, supposing if you have 1 crore rupees and you lost the whole crore, are you worried? No, because I have Chintamani Shastra. I will desire 100 crores, so I will get 100 crores. Now again that went away. Somebody took it away. You are worried? No, because you have Chintamani Shastra. So Chintamani Shastra occupies such a place in our all the scriptures. This example is given time and again. Okay, it's a miraculous and precious diamond. Okay, so once you have a Chintamani, you are not worried at all, because whatever you desire, you get it from there. Okay, you don't have to do anything, only just think and you get it. Okay, is offered to an extremely pauper. Now, what is this pauper? Poor, beggar, for looking at it. He is a beggar, he does not have anything, and he is being given a Chintamani diamond. Okay? But he refuses to even look at it. And as if a cup of nectar is offered to a leper. So the first example Todarmalji gives in this paragraph, which is very important, okay, that he gives an example of a poor guy who is being given a Chintamani. He had to just look and desire and he will get it. But he is still not looking at it. Okay. The second example, if a cup of nectar is offered to a leper, the one who is suffering from leprosy, Kodi, Kodi hota hai na, Kodi vyakti, okay? And this nectar is such a good medicine that whoever consumes that nectar, he gets rid of all kinds of diseases, okay? If a cup of nectar is offered to a leper for drinking, but he refuses to drink it, help is at hand, solution is at hand, but he doesn't do it, then what we will say? Similarly, these two examples, now the principle. Similarly, if a mundane, miserable jeev, okay, a jeev who is suffering from all sides, gets an opportunity to listen to an easy discourse on path of liberation, where he is going to get liberated of all his worries, but he refuses to pay attention to it, then it is not possible for us to describe the glory of his misfortune. Glory means mahima. Mahima of his durbhagya, misfortune, okay? Abhagya. When we ponder over his future, a compassionate feeling arises in us, okay? So, one who is poor, he is getting a Chintamani, but he does not look at it. One who is suffering from some disease and he is getting the medicine for that, but he is not consuming that medicine, then Todarmalji says what we can do. So I have made this Shastra for people who are suffering from miseries, and if they read this scripture, whatever is written here, if they act accordingly, take a decision on that, then all his miseries will be wiped out and he will become happy. But if he does not read, if he does not pay attention to it, then it is not possible for us to describe the glory of his misfortune. Now this word glory is very important word. What it indicates, glory means mahima. And in this whole scripture, Todarmalji has used this word mahima at 5 times. I'm telling you the page numbers, you write it down, and as a homework, you find out this word glory in all these other pages. The first one is here, page 27. Second one is in page 130. The third one is in page 245. The fourth one is in page 370. And the fifth one is in page 407. So when he wants to highlight certain topic, he uses this word glory, mahima. In Hindi, very interesting read in Hindi also, you may connect. पुनश्च जिस प्रकार बड़े दरिद्री को, पुअर पर्सन, अवलोकन मात्र चिंतामणि की प्राप्ति हो और वह अवलोकन ना करे, ना देखे उसको, तथा जैसे कोढ़ी को अमृत पान कराए और वह न करे, उसी प्रकार संसार पीड़ित जीवों को सुगम मोक्ष मार्ग के उपदेश का निमित्त बने और वह अभ्यास न करे, तो उसके अभाग्य की महिमा हमसे तो नहीं हो सकती. ओके, अभाग्य की महिमा, ग्लोरी ऑफ मिसफॉर्चून. देन द नेक्स्ट लाइन इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. उसकी होनहारी का विचार करने पर अपने को समता आती है. ओके, when we ponder over his future, okay, when we ponder over his destiny, that would be a better word, a compassionate feeling, not compassionate feeling, अपने को समता आती है, equanimity, okay, passionless. This is what samta is called, okay. So here it is written compassionate. Compassionate is a karuna. So karuna is again a passion. Here it is said passionless. Samta aati hai. We are at equanimity. You don't listen, don't listen. I don't mind. Because I know if your future is bright, you will immediately adapt it. You will get interested. You will have feeling of gratefulness for the scriptures, for this Jinwani. Okay. But since you are not able to understand it, okay, then it's only your misfortune. And I cannot explain the glory of that misfortune. Okay. Only when I look at your destiny, I am able to manifest a feeling of equanimity, samta. Okay. Samta aati hai. Okay. So this is the Hindi word. And your homework that you have to find the word glory in all the other 4 references that I have given, and you will really enjoy this study of the word glory. The jivas, also it is said that this is which scripture? OCR kaha hai ki Updesh Siddhant Ratna. I think the name of the scripture is Updesh Siddhant Ratna. The jivas who even on getting the company of self-dependent discourser guru, preceptor, do not listen to religious sermons are haughty. Haughty means rude, impolite. In Hindi it is called dheet. Dheet. Jiddi hote hai na, jiddi, who doesn't listen, who doesn't like those people. Haughty and possesses cruel heart, dusht chit, or they are devoid of fear of transmigration, from which great personages like Tirthankars, etc. were afraid. Okay, this sansar chakra mein, taking birth again and again and again. Okay, so why these Tirthankars, who were also Chakravartis, who were also Kamdev, who has got all the possessions in this universe, they left everything and became possessionless monk. Why? Because they knew that there is no happiness over there. Happiness lies in the soul. And when I renounce all these things, I will be able to pursue it in a better way. So they left everything and went to the jungle to become a monk and enjoy themselves. Okay. So even Tirthankar were afraid, but these people, although they have got access to this kind of learnings, they are not ready to listen. Okay. So what we can do? Nothing. Now the 3 points, 7, 8, 9, 3 paragraphs and 3 points. And Madhuji, you would like to read?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Where exactly we have to start? I have to start.
In Pravachan Sar.
Yes, sir. In Pravachan Sar also there is a chapter on Moksha Marg, wherein the knowledge of scripture has been advocated as worth adopting. Upadhyay firstly. So the prime duty of this jiva is to attain knowledge of scripture. By its attainment, the true belief of tattvas, jeev, ajeev, etc. realities gets evolved, and on attainment of right belief of tattvas, continence, disposition, sam, samya bhav gets evolved. And on the basis of this knowledge of scriptures, even self-realization materializes. Then, on its own, the attainment of liberation takes place. Further, there are various components of religion. In them, excepting dhyana, meditation, there is no other component of religion higher than study of scriptures. Therefore, One should study scriptures by taking all possible efforts. 9. Further, reading, listening, and pondering over the Shastras is very easy. Even knowledge of grammar, etc., is not necessary. Therefore, all should essentially study this book. The readers are bound to achieve spiritual welfare. Thus ends the first chapter dealing with introductory part of Sri Moksha Prakashak Shastra.
Hmm. So Todarmalji was a fan of Acharya Amrit Chandra Dev. So everywhere he refers to Acharya Amrit Chandra Dev's comment on that particular topic. So in Pravachans also there is a chapter on Moksha Marga, okay, wherein the knowledge of scripture has been advocated as worth adopting. Firstly, okay. So first we have to read the scriptures, then interpret, understand, contemplate, and decision. That's all. This is what you can do. This is the right effort. Your effort stops where up to your efforts are only applicable up to the decision. Beyond that, the decision will take you. Okay. But your effort should be to understand and decide. Okay. So the prime duty of this jiva, what is the prime duty? That is very important in life. If you don't know what is your prime duty, then whatever you do will be wrong. Okay. So first establish what is our prime duty. So the prime duty of this jiva is to attain knowledge of scripture. Okay. And Parmagam Honors course offers you this in a very, very impactful manner. Those who have graduated 5 years, their lives have changed for the better. In fact, many have started teaching in Parmagam itself. Only 2 hours a week, but consistency with assignments and seriousness, you will be able to teach others also. And when you teach others, you only get deep into it. Okay. So it is for your own benefit that you teach others. Okay. So the prime duty of this jiva is to attain knowledge of scripture. Okay. By its attainment, the true belief of tattvas, jeev, ajeev, etc. are realities. Okay. Gets evolved. So by reading the scriptures, by contemplating, by taking decisions at every point, what Acharya has to convey, you are in line with that. You are aligning yourself with the thinking of Acharyas. That is where the knowledge of tattva evolves. The right knowledge of tattva evolves. That means you attain right belief. Okay. By attainment, the true belief of tattvas gets evolved, and attainment of right belief of tattvas, continent disposition, sanyam bhav, austerity, conduct gets evolved. Okay. And on the basis of this knowledge of scripture, even self-realization materializes. Then on its own, the attainment of liberation takes place. So such a wonderful path of liberation. And I wonder many a times that on an average, there are 50 people who opt to get into this Paramagam Honors course. Okay. Out of which only 25 are able to make it to the class. 25 in between only, they don't join only. And those who join, by the end of first semester, another 10 goes off. By the end of second semester, another 5 goes off. And by the time it ends, so from 50, it boils down to only 5-10 people. This is the ratio of retaining students at Parmagam Honors course. Okay. So if you are able to continue, it is your good luck. Okay. But we know that just as Todarmalji said, when we ponder over his destiny or future, a compassionate feeling arises in us. Not compassionate, but a feeling of equanimity. The independence, you can just observe the independent nature of each thing. Okay. So that is the thing that even if you are getting access to this, then it is well begun, but it is not complete. You have to be very sincere to continue into this, and then you will reap the benefit of it. And what is the benefit? That is, again, we cannot express through words. Okay. It is a feeling that you have to experience. And you can just taste a sample when you started, and after we are almost 1 year, more than 1 year over, and what is your feeling? How your life, there is a certain spark in your life, you know, there is a certain kind of purposefulness that you have acquired over a period of 1 year, and that is driving your passion to pursue this course. Okay. But there will always be few people of that category, and we are not complaining. Okay. Although we are trying our level best, those who want in any way want to learn, we are there to help you out, because we know that somebody had worked for us, so we have got this knowledge, and this tradition should continue. And when you also graduate, you also pass on this multi-level marketing, okay, to other people. And this way, another 18,005 years, people will keep on coming and learning this, and start their spiritual journey. Okay. So it is like that. Further, there are various components of religion. Okay. There are 12 kinds of tapa, penance. Okay. In that 12 tapa, the first tap or the penance, the second one is greater than the first, the third one is greater than the second. So there is a sequence among the 12 penances. Okay. Out of which Swadhyay, study of scriptures, is the 10th in the sequence. And above that, there is dhyan, meditation, as the 12th. Okay. But Swadhyay is called the Param Tap. Why it is called the supreme penance? Because by doing the study of scriptures, you are able to understand the nature of other penances. Okay. Its importance. Okay. And its functionality. All this we can know only by studying of scriptures. Therefore, one should study scriptures by making all possible efforts. Okay. And I will go one line further. One should study scriptures by leaving everything else, you know, because you have to grab this opportunity with both hands. This human life is itself very rare to get, and you have got a human life, you have got a Jain family, your birth in Jain family, which is again very rare. Then again, if you are getting a birth in Jain family, then true God, true scripture, and true monks is again very difficult to get. Because in the name of Jain, we have many sects, different sects, having different type of scriptures. Okay. And all say that we are the truth one. But then again, it's up to you to examine and come to a conclusion. Okay. So one should study with all possible efforts. Okay. One principle about Karnan Yoga. Whatever good associations that you have got because of past auspicious karma. Now, if you use that association, okay, for wrongful activity, then your auspicious karma gets destroyed. But if you use that opportunity in something doing more good for your benefit, for your spiritual development, then your auspicious karma increases tenfold times. So in one scenario, it destroys your punya karma, and then you will have only pap to enjoy, pap to suffer from. Okay. So this is one of the most important principle of Karnan Yoga, of the karma theory. Okay. So if you misuse your punya karma, you will get into pap karmas. And if you utilize it very judiciously, your punya karma. If you don't waste it, then your punya karma will increase, and it will increase in that manner that you will get all the good association in your life which are conducive to your spiritual development, and you ultimately will get liberated. Okay. So one should study scriptures by making all possible efforts. Further, reading, listening, and pondering over this Shastra is very easy. It is all in understandable language. We never thought that there could be something in English of similar kind, but somebody has already translated this, and somebody is contemplating to get a better version to this with Chat GPT and all coming into existence, artificial intelligence. There are some not discrepancy, I would say, but the choice of words have not been very good. Now, just now we were reading the Hindi text. It is written there, samta aati hai. Now, samta is equanimity. Samta is passionlessness. Okay. And here it is written compassionate. So compassionate is also good, but again, it is a kind of passion only. And what the writer wanted to express was equanimity, vitrakta, samta, ahimsa. Okay, all this means the same. Is very easy. Even knowledge of grammar, etc., grammar, logic, nay, praman is not necessary. Therefore, all should essentially study this book. The readers are bound to achieve spiritual welfare. Thus ends the first chapter dealing with the introductory part of Sri Moksha Marg Prakashak Shastra. So in the introduction only, Todarmalji has make us very alert that what is going to come in this Shastra. Okay. So in the introduction, Todarmalji has thought of everything that could be put in, and he has put in all those good concepts in that. And if we read in the right sense, we will also be benefited by it. Okay, so another 18 minutes are left and we cannot waste 18 minutes. So we will start the chapter 2, Nature of Mundane Existence. Okay, so it is very important to first tell you how the souls are suffering in different states of existence because of karmas. Okay. So until and unless you realize the problem, you will not be tempted to go for the solution. That is the psychology of Pandit Todarmal ji. And that was the same psychology of Pandit Daulat Ram ji in Chaidala. There are so much of similarities between Chaidala and Moksha Marga Prakashak. Okay, that we will discuss when we do the introduction of Chaidala Granth. We are going to study the whole Chaidala Granth as a paper 2. Okay, so at that time we will discuss. But now let's begin this chapter 2 of Moksha Marg Prakashak, Nature of Mundane Existence. In this, there are small topics given, you know. Predominantly, it is dealing with the karma theory. Last week also I said that Todarmalji was very inclined to Karnan Yoga, karma theory and all, and he studied it very deeply. That's why he was able to write the commentary on 5 scriptures of Karnan Yoga. Gomatsar Jeev Kand, Gomatsar Karma Kand, Labdi Sar, Shapna Sar, Trilok Sar. All these are related to Karnan Yoga topics. It's related to cosmology, the time cycle, the 3 worlds, the karma theory, okay, the Margana Sthan, the Guna Sthan, all these are a part of Karnan Yoga, and Todarmalji was an expert in that, and he has written commentary on these 5 scriptures. It's a common commentary, and the name of the scripture is Samyak Gyan Chandrika. Okay. So it was written in Old Hindi, then it has been translated by Ujjala Ben Shah in Hindi, and I have got access to that book. I have that book with me. And those who are interested can also get that book and further pursue that study. But here, Todramalji has explained the nature of mundane existence, how the karma from time immemorial has been affecting the jiva, why jiva are not able to get away with the delusion. Okay, all its causes, effects, the different positions of karma, the karmas bearing on the soul, everything is explained. How we bind the karmas and how we can get rid of it, everything is explained in this chapter. We begin this chapter, and again there is a Mangalacharana in the chapter. मिथ्या भाव अभाव ते जो प्रगटे निज भाव सो जयवंत रहो सदा यही मोक्ष उपाव. Mithya bhav abhavte. What is this mithya bhav? Mithya bhav is false belief, false knowledge, and false conduct. All three put together. It is not only false belief. Generally speaking, people believe mithyatva means false belief. But here it is written mithya bhav. So it is belief also, knowledge also, and conduct also. Okay. So mithya bhav abhavte. So when you are able to destroy the false belief, the false knowledge, and false conduct, you manifest nij bhav. So jo pragte nij bhav. Okay. You manifest nij bhav, your original nature, intrinsic nature. Okay. That is being manifested. And what is this intrinsic nature? The manifestation of that? Right belief, right knowledge, and right conduct. So on one hand, you destroy wrong belief, wrong knowledge, wrong conduct, and here you get right belief, right knowledge, and right conduct. So Jaivant Rahe Sada. Okay. Let this path of liberation always be there for people to come and understand and start their own spiritual journey. And that is the only path of liberation. Yahi moksha upav. Upav means upai. Upai means solution. Okay. And that is the path of liberation. Okay. So this is the Mangalacharan. Now we will read 4 paragraphs. Okay. And then I will explain. So who is left over? I think Payal, you are there right now.
Yes, sir.
You will be able to read?
Yeah.
Yeah, then you read. Let the intrinsic nature from there itself.
Okay, let the intrinsic nature of soul remain victorious always, which gets manifested due to termination of false belief, etc. This alone is the means of liberation. Now, in this Shastra, light is thrown on the path of liberation. Liberation is the release from bondage. This soul is having bondage of karmas, and due to the bondage, the soul is suffering from miseries. Although Jeev is continuously trying to ward off the misery, but without attaining the right means, misery does not end, and misery is also unbearable. Therefore, this Jeev is becoming restless. Thus, the root cause of all miseries to the Jeev is the karmic bondage. Its destruction, separation, is emancipation, liberation. And same is the supreme welfare, and the primary duty is to make true effort for the same. Therefore, all preaching is for the same. Just as a physician first tells the patient about the diagnosis of disease, as to how he got diseased, thereafter he tells him about the different conditions resulting from the disease. Thereby the patient infers that he assuredly has this disease. Then The physician further tells him about the means of curing the disease in various ways and makes him believe that about the appropriateness of the treatment. Giving such advice is the duty of the physician. And if that patient adopts that means, then he can enjoy his natural state after freeing himself from the disease. This is the duty of the patient.
Next.
Similarly, here the Jeev, mundane being having karmic bondage, is first being told the reason for the karmic bondage as to how he got entangled with the karmas. Then he is told about the various conditions which he undergoes. Thereby, the Jeev concludes that he assuredly has such karmic bondage. And then he is further told in various ways about the means of release from that karmic bondage. And the physician makes him believe about the efficacy of the means. So much is the sermon of the scriptures. If the Jeev makes efforts accordingly, then by freeing himself from karmic bondage, he can enjoy his natural bliss. This is the duty of Jeev.
So you see, the main cause of our miseries. Why we are reading the scriptures? Because we want to be happy. Okay. And to become happy, you have to remove the miseries, because there are two kinds of feeling. Either it is pleasant or unpleasant. So the miseries are unpleasant, which nobody wants in the first place. And it is the happiness that everyone wants. Okay. And they realize that this happiness, because of delusion, they realize that this happiness lies in sensual pleasures. So everybody is after the senses. Okay. But our attribute of happiness, how can we get from the senses, object of senses? Okay. By seeing a movie, you become happy. But movie does not have our attribute of happiness. Our attributes is in us only. Okay. So just simply realizing this truth leads you into the right direction. But because of delusion, because people don't want to listen, they do what they feel like. And what they feel like is not the correct solution. So they don't get away with miseries. Only there are some intense miseries sometimes, and sometimes it is mild. But never this soul is without misery at any point of time. Okay. This has been our story since time immemorial, because we have no beginning. Okay. We are from time immemorial. So is the karma. Okay. Karma is also along with Jeev from time immemorial. It is not that the Jeev earlier was without karma and then suddenly karma came. No. Okay. That discussion we will do later on in a very detailed manner. It's going to come in the subject only. Okay. So what is liberation? So liberation means release from bondage. So misery is because of the bondage, and bondage is because of the past deeds that we have done, past wrong deeds we have done. Okay. Inauspicious deeds that we have done, and we have bounded inauspicious karma, and that karma is coming into fruition, and that's why we are suffering from miseries. Okay. And to avoid this misery, the soul is putting in efforts. Okay. But without attaining the right means, his misery does not end. Okay. And that misery is also unbearable. Therefore, this Jeev is becoming restless. Okay. What is the characteristics of misery? Any guesses? What is the characteristics of misery?
Restlessness.
Restlessness. Very good. So everywhere Todarmalji has connected this relationship, that because of misery, the restlessness is there. Okay. And if the misery is not there, then restlessness will be not there. But on the contrary, you will be unperturbed. The word used is nirakulta. Akulta is restless, and nirakulta is opposite of restless. That is, you are unperturbed. Okay. That means you are enjoying eternal bliss. Okay. So this should be
So
our
whatever karma comes हंसते हंसते सहन कर लो.
सहन नहीं करना है, एंजॉय करना है.
जी.
सहन तो is just like tolerating,
Again
you know.
karmic bondage.
Yeah. No, we want to enjoy in that moment. How can that be possible? So that is, first we have to understand how we bound the karmas, how the karmas are being bounded, and then we have to realize a way to get out of that bondage. Okay. So release from bondage is liberation, that we have discussed. The root cause of all miseries to this jiva is karmic bondage. It's destruction or separation. Okay. Actually, destruction means separation. Okay. Is emancipation, liberation, and same is the supreme welfare, and the prime duty is to make true effort for the same. Therefore, all preaching is for the same, to get rid of this karmic bondage and to be happy. Totamalji has given a very good example of a physician. In those days, 300 years ago, Totamalji has written this scripture, and in those days, there were no allopathic doctors. There were Nadi Ved. They used to just examine your Nadi, okay, which is there in the wrist. Pulses, right. Okay. So they used to examine your pulses and they were able to make out what disease you are suffering from. Because these pulses indicate a balance between Vat, Pith, and Kaph. Okay. Vat is, I think, gases.
Yes.
Pith is what? Pith is another kind of something. And Kaph is cough, you know. Already English is also said cough. Okay.
Yeah.
So if the balance gets disturbed of these three components, then you get a disease. Okay. So a physician first, he does four things. First, he tells the patient about the diagnosis of the disease, that how you got this disease. Okay. Then the second step, he tells him about the different conditions resulting from the disease. Now you had cold water from the freeze, okay, and you got cold, you catch up with cold, okay. Then by looking at your pulse, first he will say that because you had freeze water, that's why you are getting this cold, okay. Now because of cold, you are not able to concentrate on anything. Every now then you are getting the sneeze, okay, and other sufferings that go along with that disease. So by telling those symptoms, he is creating a faith in you that I have diagnosed your disease. And when you are convinced, no, I didn't say anything to doctor, and doctor told me that you must have consumed freeze water. This is the sufferings that you are undergoing. You are not getting sleep.
Where'd you get this?
Pardon?
Polo. You went to the shop to get that?
Oh,
1 minute, huh? I'll get muted. Please, team leader, you can also mute other people, you know, who sometimes forget to. Okay. So first he diagnoses the disease, then he gives him the reasons and the symptoms of these diseases. Thereby, the patient concludes that he assuredly has this disease. Then the third step, then the physician further tells him about the means of curing the disease in various ways. And the fourth point, makes him believe about the appropriateness of the treatment. Okay. This much is the duty of physician. And if that patient wants to get better, he adopts those means. And if he adopts those means, he gets okay. The disease goes away and he can enjoy his natural state. Okay. And be free from the disease. This is the duty of the patient. Similarly here, the mundane existence, because of karmic bondage, has been suffering in the fourth state of existence because of this karmic bondage. Okay. So the physician here, our omniscient, through the scriptures, first explain us how we got entangled with those karmas. Then he tells us about the various conditions which we are undergoing. The third point, therefore, this Jeev concludes that he assuredly has such karmic bondage and that he is further told in various ways about the means. Okay. The third point is he is told about the various ways and means from that karmic bondage. And the fourth one is he makes him believe the effectiveness of the means. Okay. This much is the sermons of the scriptures written by the omniscient. If this jiva makes efforts accordingly means as per instructions given in the scriptures, then by freeing himself from karmic bondage, he can enjoy his natural bliss. This is the duty of jiva. Okay. As we buy a mobile phone, there is a instruction manual given along with that. And by reading the instruction manual, we operate the mobile. Okay, and it gets going. Similarly here, first diagnosing, then telling the symptoms that convinces the patient, and the patient is convinced, then he explains him the effectiveness of the treatment, of the means. And by following that, he can get rid of the disease and he can be enjoy natural bliss. Okay, so this is what we should do. Todarmalji has going to explain us how the bondage happen, how we can get rid of it, what is the distinction between the soul and karma, and then what are ghati karmas and aghati karmas, obscuring karmas and non-obscuring karmas, and their functions. Okay, and how it is destructing the jeev's natural functioning, and how these karmas are strengthless. Okay, what is the process of new bondage and how this bondage happens, what is the duration and what is the fruition. All these are being explained in this chapter. Small topics we will be covering in the next few classes. Okay, any questions? Our time is over. Okay. निज निधि निज में बताई, यह अनंत उपकार है, उसके लिए जिन वाणी